All right, we are joined by Brooke Henderson, another KPMG Women's PGA Championship. Just what have been your thoughts on Baltusrol in the couple times you've been out so far?
It's amazing. It's so cool that we have the opportunity to play here this week. The course is in immaculate shape. I've never seen a golf course in such great shape, I don't think. And, the greens are running really firm and fast, but with the weather conditions over the next few days, that could change a little bit. But you're going to have to think your way around and play really smart out here.
We've heard from a couple of players now that the first 4 holes, and Stacey Lewis even said she would say the first 6 are going to be super challenging, and you're not even going to get a look at birdie until 7. Just do you agree with that, and what have you seen to help try? And what would be some keys to navigating those holes?
Yeah, that's a really interesting mindset. They can definitely play really tough. There's a lot of holes out here that par is good, and a lot of holes that, like I said, you really have to think and play smart and give yourself the best look at maybe birdie, but also par. And I start on the back 9 tomorrow, so hopefully I can get out there and make a few birdies. And so then when I come around to number 1, then it's not as tough.
I'm going to throw a stat at you that you may or may not know, but since 2020, you've had the most rounds in the 60s in majors. Do you take a different approach when you're coming into a major, or what do you think is the reason for that?
I love major championships. They're very challenging, and you have to play smart, and when the opportunity is there, then you can play a little bit aggressive, and I feel like that suits my game really well. And it's nice when my coach, my dad, is here this week, and Britt, my sister, who also caddies for me, is always with me, but it's nice to have the team together and where we can make smart decisions together and try to come up with a strategy and kind of try to make it fun, even though it's a really tough week, and it's definitely going to be tough, mentally and physically, but hopefully at the end of 4 rounds, we're in a solid position.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to open up. We'll start with Sarah.
Hey, Brooke. I feel like you've described your year as up and down on multiple occasions. I mean, how do you give yourself grace when you are in the downs, especially on a week like this when you've got to kind of find an up pretty quickly?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like this is one of the most important stretches of the year right now, starting this week. We have 4 majors left, Canadian Open for me, and not too far away. So this is definitely the time to, start peaking and start to be on the up. So hopefully that happens. I feel like, you're starting off the year on such a high. It has been a little bit down the last few months, but I feel like the game's right around the corner, and just staying patient to see the results.
How important is it to you? Obviously played last week at a place that you've won at a couple of times, but how important is it for you in particular to play the week before a major? And is that, obviously you do that quite a bit.
Yeah, this is actually my 5th week in a row. So I've been playing a lot of golf, just trying to get the game in good shape and get it rolling coming into this week and then at Pebble in 2 weeks. So, you know what? It's just been trying to put in the work and find it again and try to get a couple early birdies hopefully tomorrow and climb the leaderboard quick and hopefully just stay there for the next couple months.
What are your thoughts on this golf course finishing with 2 par 5s, 17 and 18? Obviously kind of tricky holes. 17 got that blind second shot and then 18 on the water on the left. But what are your thoughts on the strategy that you'll take to those 2 holes?
Yeah, it's really cool finishing with back-to-back par 5s. You don't see that very often. And I feel like, come the weekend, it's going to make a huge difference. And there could be a lot of movement around the leaderboard, so that's kind of exciting. 17 plays a lot different than 18. 17 is 3-shot hole, I would say pretty much for everybody. Where 18, you can get there in 2 and possibly have an eagle look. So, 2 different holes, but it's going to be a lot of fun, I think, when it counts.
Juan?
Yeah, so it feels like every time your dad has been around, and mostly in majors, no? You've been able to work in some adjustments, small or big, that have taken your game to a different level, no? So can you talk a little bit about that and what you're working on this week?
Yeah, for sure. My dad has been my coach since I was young, and so it's always great when he's out here and we can work on strategy and work on different parts of the game. And this week is no different. This week's a huge week, and it's circled on our calendars. We always want to start peaking for the major championships, so he's just trying to make sure that my game's in a good spot, both mentally and physically, and we've been working to try to get a strategy together.
Any key aspects for this week, do you think, here?
Patience. It's a challenging golf course. You're going to have to stay patient through the good and the bad, and hopefully there's more good than bad, but it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a test, and that's exactly what you want from a major championship.
Yeah, I think one of the big changes was the putting the last time when you worked with your dad on. And I think there's a possibility that they can control like the moisture on the greens this week. So even if you have rain and you have wet fairways, the greens are going to still firm and fast. No? So how important is that going to be? No?
Yeah, it's playing extremely firm and fast right now. Maybe if it pours rain the next 4 days, that might change a little bit. But right now, calculating release and the different slopes on the greens, it's all going to take, you're going to need to get some breaks, but you're also going to need to play smart. And, hopefully between my caddy, my coach, and myself, we can play as smart as we can and then just be aggressive when we need to.
Hi, Brooke. Two questions. First, how different is Baltusrol from the courses you typically play on the LPGA Tour, especially in the South?
This is an amazing venue, and it's amazing that we have the opportunity to play here this week. I'm super excited about it. With all the history and tradition that comes with this place and walking by the Jack's plaque on number 18, it's all really cool. So I'm happy that the women are back here playing, and this course is in immaculate condition and very, very firm and fast greens, which is a little different than most weeks out on tour. So it'll be fun and challenging test.
And then what is more challenging for you to kind of overcome? Is it having an up and down year like you are, or would you rather just be playing bad and try and work up from there?
No, I never take away the win or never take away the ups. I feel like golf, just like life, it's like a roller coaster. There's lots of up and downs, and hopefully there's more ups. But when you're not playing your best, it kind of reminds you of how good it is and how exciting it is to win. And when you have those top finishes, sometimes when you have them all in a row, you kind of take them for granted, I would say. But when you have a little bit of trouble here and there, it kind of refreshes you and says like, oh yeah, it's a lot of hard work to be at the top, and when you're up there, you should celebrate your wins and your good finishes a little bit more, because it is such a tough grind.
Does the win earlier this year make some of the bad play less frustrating?
I'm still making a lot of cuts and stuff, so I'm still making a living out here, which is good. Just not maybe up to my standards or my goals, but I wouldn't say that it's been a terrible year so far. Starting out with a win was great. I've had some top 20s and top 30s, so it's been all right. It's just I would prefer to be in contention a little bit more on the weekends. But, it's not far away, and I think, over the next few weeks, it'll start to get back to where it should be.
What's it like to be back in New Jersey?
I love New Jersey. It's great. It's really close to home, which is pretty cool, and the courses remind me a lot of the courses I grew up playing on back in Canada, similar grasses and tree lines, so that always makes it a little bit extra special for me.
Just, do you have any thoughts on, with everything going on with the PGA and LIV, if that were to join LPGA?
There's a lot of unknowns right now. I don't think we know a lot out here on tour, but I just hope that if anything further is to happen, that the LPGA would be part of the conversation.
Sarah?
Mental stamina this time of year is super important for everybody. You're in a 5-week stretch. How do you kind of maintain not only your physical body, but your mental game as well?
Yeah, playing a lot of golf, it does wear on you a little bit, both physically and mentally, but I feel like I've been just trying to build energy and try to get stronger every single week, leading up into this week here. So I feel like I've been pretty successful at that, just trying to, just try to get a little bit better all the time and try to get the game rolling.
As far as mental stuff goes, I think it's interesting to try to prepare in a course that's firm, fast. Hard as I'll get out. I know the rain likely won't affect it too much, but when you're preparing on one thing and then playing on something in totally different conditions, how challenging is that to readjust your game and your mental side?
Yeah, it is really tough, when you show up here on Monday and it's different conditions than Thursday or Sunday. After all the traffic out on the course, it usually tends to get a lot firmer come the weekend. So, just we'll have to judge it and adjust a lot, just day to day, shot to shot even. And, just play as smart as you can. And, not everything's going to go great, but, hopefully we make smart decisions and I can execute those shots, and then just be the best you can be in the moment.
I followed you for the first hole yesterday in the Pro-Am, and I noticed you and Britt were really involved with your Pro-Am partners. Can you just talk about, does that help you kind of take a little pressure off yourself, or, how can you use the Pro-Am to your advantage, I guess?
Yeah, Pro-Ams are great because you get to see the golf course another time. You get to see it in a little bit different way than just practicing. There's not a lot of pressure, but a little bit of pressure, to perform and to hit fairways and hit greens. And I kind of like that leading into a championship. And, you get to play with some really cool people, and you get to learn what they do on a daily basis, what they do for work, and I find that pretty interesting. So I always like to try to be involved with my Pro-Am partners as much as I can and try to learn the golf course at the same time.
All right, that'll do it from everyone in the physical media center. We have a couple questions from the online. John?
Hey, Brooke, it's John Shipley Hill with the Canadian Press. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. I've got 2 questions for you. The first is I was curious, what went into the decision to play 5 weeks in a row? Because that is quite demanding, and obviously you ended last season with some back issues. So I was curious, just sort of what was your thought process?
Yeah, I was planning on a 4-week stretch, but after I had to withdraw from the New Jersey event in May due to illness, I decided that I would play Vegas, which made it a 5-week stretch, and the goal was just to start playing again, try to get the game in a good rhythm, and try to start getting some top finishes again.
Sorry, just as a follow-up, Brooke, how important is it to you to win majors in terms of building your career and sort of your legacy as a golfer?
Yeah, your career is kind of defined by how many majors you win, or if you're a major champion. And so I was really fortunate that I was able to get my first major victory when I was really young, to kind of avoid a lot of those questions of when I was going to win my first one. Then for a while I had when were you going to win your second one, which took a while, I guess 6 years. It's a long time, but I'm looking forward to the next opportunity I have to be in contention and in those final groups, because it's such an amazing feeling, especially in a major where there's more pressure and more eyes on you, and it's exciting to have that opportunity. So hopefully just go out, play 2 solid rounds Thursday, Friday, and be in those positions on the weekend.
Well, I'm still waiting to win my first major, so I think you're doing great. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for your time, Brooke.
Awesome. Thank you.